All right, hey everybody. I'm excited to have a conversation around discipleship with my friend and amazing pastor out in NYC, the one and only Michael Signorelli.
Oh,
Come
come
on.
on, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Man, okay, so tell us a little bit real quick about your church, what you guys are doing. This is fresh journey, but man, God's doing some incredible things. So talk about it real quick.
Yeah, I'll give you like the 20-second version because there's so much going on out here. I'm actually sitting down the street from the Amityville Horror House from the movies. I'm on Long Island. Our church is based on Long Island. I live in New York City with my wife and two daughters, and we are launching location number 2 in Queens, where we live, which is exciting. So we got
Amazing.
one foot on Long Island, one foot in NYC. And we have just been seeing just the gospel break out, man. Radical conversions, Hindus, Greek Orthodox, Catholics converting, Jews accepting Christ as Messiah, and baptizing all of them into this family we call the church. And it's been epic.
Come on, man. Love it. Let's go.
So,
And you have an amazing wife, Julie, and
yeah.
the fam. How's NYC life for y'all?
You know what? Well, we're originally from Indiana, so we were like steel mills and corn stalks, and now we're just in the concrete jungle. And honestly, we love it. Like my wife's always been like, I want to do tiny house living back in the day when we were in Indiana, and now that we live in a 600 square foot apartment, I'm like, well, you finally got your dream, babe. So tiny house living, it's living the dream. But it's
Yeah.
been honestly, there's a special grace on us because we love it. We have people come and visit, and they're like, "Man, God bless you for being in the mission field." And to us, we're still like, "What are you talking about? This is sweet."
Yeah.
So
Well, it's awesome. A huge, applause to you guys for the impact, and it's just been so fun to see what God's doing. And we connected a while back, and it's exciting to be teaming up with you guys. I know you guys are using the Following Jesus book, which, if you
oh
don't
yeah,
know what it is, this is it right here, y'all. Following Jesus book is a resource churches are using for discipleship, and so wanting to have conversations with different churches who are using it and talk about that, but also talk about the bigger conversation around discipleship. We all want to be more effective in that area. So maybe first just talk to us about how you guys are currently utilizing the Following Jesus book and in your discipleship process, and then we'll kind of expand that conversation a
yeah.
little bit.
This is a great question. I wish this video existed a year or so ago, and I started using these books because we've learned as we have went along. But for me, like I said, I'm here predominantly in this like Jewish Catholic region, and I'm not in the Bible Belt, not yet at least. We're changing that. But what happened was we just started leading people to Christ, and there was this organic need because they were unchurched, non-church, non-traditional.
Yep.
And so we were like, we need a resource to disciple them. And then as a church planner myself, I realized, okay, I'm leaving Indiana to church plant in an area that even ARC and national church planting organizations said we don't have a playbook,
Mm.
for that region. So
Wow.
I actually started studying the 1040 window and said, how do you church plant the 1040 window? Which, for those of you who don't know, is one of the most difficult regions, if not, it's like the least church, least gospel saturated section of the world.
Yep.
And every single person who's been successful, and obviously we deem success as just winning souls, leading people to Jesus,
Yep.
in those regions have said that disciple making movements actually birth church planting movements.
Mm.
And I think for me, coming from the Midwest, my paradigm was the opposite. It was like, well, you plant a church and then you make disciples. And we actually here in New York, I mean, it was like there was such a hunger and a passion for something bigger than themselves. And as we began to communicate Jesus, people were accepting Jesus before we had a church to facilitate it.
Come on.
And so now, I'm where we're at on Long Island, the average weekly attendance is 30 people. And yet we've just exploded out of that to where we're in overflow auditoriums. Now we're launching a second location in Queens in the city. And I attribute all of that. And when I say all, I mean all of it to discipleship.
Mm.
because here it's like, music isn't going to keep them. Even good, passionate preaching is going to keep them. I think the bread and butter of what we do is develop people through a discipleship process, and we use following Jesus to do it.
Mm.
And we give away free Starbucks coffee every Sunday. And the joke is that we run out of Following Jesus books faster than we do Starbucks coffee.
Hey, come on, somebody. Hey,
So,
shout out to Starbucks. Sorry, I'm winning, but it's all good. It's all good. Hey, that's amazing. That's amazing.
yeah.
So, from a practical standpoint on a
Yeah.
weekend service, what does that look like for you guys? Or do you give it out at a different time? Like when do you engage them with that resource?
Yes, I love nuts and bolts conversations because I feel like everyone gives the philosophy, nobody gives the nuts and bolts. So
Yeah.
I'll give you guys watching my best secrets, and you can make them better and give them back to me. But so what we do is our church is called V1, and V1's the stage in aviation where the plane first takes off the runway, which is AKA no turning back.
Hello.
So our connect cards, like I know a lot of churches have connect cards. Our connect cards actually have another side to them that says I'm going V1 in these areas this Sunday, and it's like physical health, finances, just root system. I want to join the local church. So we actually encourage people to fill out those cards, and that those cards become a basis for like a doorway to open for these books.
Yeah.
So that's one way. So
Yep.
we'll have those cards will come in. People will collect those cards, and then actually call them and be a point of contact and say, hey, I seen that you want to make a change in your finances and your physical health, and in different areas of your life. We believe it all starts with a relationship with Christ, and we want to take you through this book, Following Jesus. So that's one. And then two is I end every single sermon that I preach with an invitation just to say that prayer,
Yep.
and I obviously it's not the end all be all, but it is a catalyst for the
Yeah.
next step.
Huge.
So yeah, so we all say that prayer together, and then we've got an outro transition person that'll come up. Hey guys, wasn't that an incredible message by Pastor Mike? If you just said that prayer, if you made that decision, we want to meet you right after service, and we have an info bar, we call it.
Yep.
And we're also distributing the books there. But what we actually fixed was initially we were just giving them away. But now we've actually implemented in like probably 5-6 weeks ago, like a sign out procedure that's like, hey, we're going to give you this book for free.
Mm.
But we want to grab some information because we want to connect a relationship to this book.
Yep. Great.
Because we're here for you beyond just what you experience in that room. And we want to answer your questions. So between those two avenues,
Yep.
we've jumped off so many conversations. And then the crazy thing is that people now, after doing this for several months, I mean, we really have had the book since we launched a year and 2 months ago.
Yep.
But now doing it these ways, we actually have people who are like coming to church, and before worship starts, before the preaching, whatever, they're like, hey, my friend got a Following Jesus book last time. I want one too. How do I get one?
Incredible.
So it's almost like that part of it has also,
Yep.
really spread, which has been incredible. And I love like the length of the book caters to people not being intimidated by it. It's just, obviously it's matte black, looks super hipster, which works really well in
Right.
New York City metro
Right.
area because it just looks fresh. So
Right.
all in all, man, it's been like essential. It's one of those essentials.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I love and get excited about what you're talking about is when you start seeing that kind of grassroots side of it, like you're saying, where someone has said like, hey, you got to get this book, or hey, I'm going to take you through this. It's like, to me, that's the gold of this. When I was writing it initially, yeah, I wanted it to be a resource that, if needed, a new believer could almost like self-study it. But ultimately, the best is always going to be another follower of Christ, walking them through it. You know what I mean? Doing that journey of life together. So I love the way you guys have built and engaged with that, and just your conversation around discipleship. Like I love what you're saying, that instead of making discipleship the afterthought, it really is the birthplace of the progress of the church. And I mean, we see that obviously from the very inception of the church in the book of Acts, just
Yeah.
the time in the homes together and just the community that's there is where discipleship happens. You know, those environments are so key and so crucial. So, man, I love what you guys are doing. I'm so excited for V1, and I hadn't heard the explanation of that definition. I love that. No turning back. Let's
Come
go.
on, baby. Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for jumping on for a bit here, praying and just believing for an exciting new season with the new location launch and everything you guys are doing. So, God
Oh,
bless you. Thank you so
we
much.
love you back. Thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for this book.
Cool. Love you, man.
I love you too.